Well, despite a disappointing year in Europe and being pushed pretty well in the title race by Linfield, today we are back with a chance for the first time to have a domestic clean sweep. Can we do it? Well, there's only one way to find out. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 149 of this Build a Nation story, Lifting Spirits with me, Daniel. We are back today to finish the 15th season against old rivals Linfield and of course against Coleraine in the Irish Cup final. Our first youth intake start is progressing nicely but probably won't feature today, and a couple of late injuries in the season have given us a bit of a headache going into that cup final. For now, though, it is a very good position to be in. We have wrapped up the title in advance as Linfield. They pushed us till the third from last game, but since then, they seem to have dropped off a cliff. I don't know if it's just because the job was done, but it looks like the last couple of games, they've struggled for motivation. The coefficient change is going to be interesting this summer and something we've got to keep an eye on for the next episode in our end-of-year review, because next year, for the first time, it is 5 teams in Europe. And look at what's happening in third and fourth. Coleraine and Larne are battling it out for third, and Coleraine, armed by Neil Daly, who of course we sent to them, and Ethan James, who's still on loan there, if anyone remembers that name, are now overtaking Larne in the third spot, and that could be a very interesting change ahead of next year. So if you're looking forward to the finale of this season and seeing whether we can wrap up our first domestic dominant clean sweep, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. But very quickly, before we go and get into that, let me show you what's been happening on the schedule. And the benefit, because we got that title wrapped up a bit earlier, is that we have been able to play our youth intake start from the start a couple of times. So you were here for Kilmarnock and Ballymena. 4 straight wins since then, and 3 of them were massive. We beat Larne 7-2. Damien Dunn got a hat-trick, as well as Vladimir, Scully, Cowan and Elliott. We did see a goal from Ian Lewington, though, our former player at the other end. A 2-1 win at Coleraine thanks to Howard and Mackenzie. Kirk, a player we tried to sign years ago, scored the goal against us. A 7-1 win against Glenarvan. This was our first game as champions. And look, Matthew Freeman started at right back. He played well as well. Got 1 assist on the day. Scully got 2, as did Missalidis, with Dunn, Bayavang and Mackenzie all adding 1 each. And then a 6-0 win at Glentoran. Again, a start for Freeman. This time, Missalidis with a hat-trick after Scully had got 2 and Bayavang 1. Now we face Linfield and Coleraine. Doesn't really matter what the results are in the first one, but the cup final has got to be a win. As a result, we'll probably go back to our first 11 today, because where Freeman's been playing, for example, you've had Gavin Reid not start a game for 2 weeks, and you don't want him to have 3 weeks off before the cup final. So I'm trying to balance things a bit, but it will be the first 11 today. It of course risks us picking up a knock, but I'm hopeful we can avoid that. And most of them we've been getting in training anyway. So good development on the youth players front. The likes of Houston's been playing regularly in that little spell as well. So we are getting youngsters into the team and starting to push for our, I guess, final transition as we head towards the twilight of this career with probably 5 or 6 years to go. We've got all the excitement of the new series that started yesterday, but today is about finishing a big season. Let's go and get through to the fixtures. It is Linfield v Distillery, first v second. And Linfield, thanks to Larne dropping off a best of the rest. But you look at the flip side of it, just to give you a bit of an indicator, if Coleraine do nick third, which would be a new thing for them, and we can send them back Neil Daly again, we can send them back other people, then looking at the places, they should be guaranteed group stage football, because they will come in the Europa League third qualifier, and they'll only need to win 1 tie to get into groups. You've also got Larne, who will still be in the Conference League, and 1 other this year, so it could be a chance for someone else to drag along. We are getting to the stage where probably the bottom 7, maybe even the bottom 8 of the division are nowhere near the same level, but the runaway 4 are all good sides now, so fingers crossed that can be built on today. We are now the 20th best league in Europe, but I'm not sure that will go up this year the way it's gone. But we have now got a chance to wrap up the title in style. We've won our 3rd successive one, but can we get a good result on the final day? Kashif Beaton is in centre midfield against us this time. At right back is Brooks, who is in our international team regularly. A few of the others just going over the hill now. And no Mackie. Where has he gone today? Is he fit? He's just on the bench, not being used. I'm a little bit surprised about that. So we'll see how they get on, but over 10,000 at Windsor Park. This is the team we're going out with. It is, I think, as strong as we can go. We've got Morrison in goal, Reed and Stowler fullbacks with Bird and Smith as centre-half, Bayavang in midfield alongside Jordan Gash, Elliott in on the right due to injuries to both Cowan and Merival Austin, with Damien Dunn and Missalidis alongside. And then up front, it's Mark Scully through the middle, Howard on the bench, Vladimir's there, Damien Jude and Houston. I mean, it's a strong side, isn't it? A lot of those players were either starting last year or would have been of starting quality. So we're really pleased with where we are. Merival Austin should be fit for the final anyway. Freeman the youngster, not in the squad for this one. Next season, it'll be the backup right back, but for now, we're going for experience. Tommy Murphy is there. We'll keep him fit if need be. Into the game we go, the warm-up for the cup final. No injuries, please. A big win would be nice. But anything other than a defeat, and to be honest, we'll be pretty pleased. But to be fair, we've got to say a bit of credit to Grant McCann because he has improved Linfield this year. To push us to the third from final day with the squad we've got is a good effort. They got to, the last 32 in Europe. Didn't do quite as well there. But after that Europa Conference win, it was always going to be hard to back it up. And they've done a pretty good job of it, in fairness. So I'm intrigued to see how they do next year with guaranteed group stage football from the start. Will they go for a bit more earlier in the transfer window? Of course, they went for Beaton last summer as Damien Dunn finds Scully in one-on-one straight away. Deflected over by Guzman. Will they come in for any more of our players? Of course, in January, when we were neck and neck and they'd just beaten us in the league, they tried to sign Damien Dunn, who rejected the move there. That could have been revolutionary because with the injuries we've had this season, we would have been a bit light in that area of the pitch. But I'm interested to see if they come in for any of our players. They've flirted with the likes of Cameron Goss in the past. Of course, Damien Dunn we've mentioned. But I have decided I'm going to let people go there unless they're the homegrown at our club. Otherwise, they can move on. It's been a quiet start so far. A couple of half chances, but nothing particularly big. With 20 minutes on the clock, it's a Linfield free kick. And to be fair to them, a fair few of this team are now quite young. They're building a younger side that are getting better. They're improving their facilities. They're also professional, of course. So it does mean they're able to push on. As Dunn gets down the right-hand side here. Nicks the ball high up as we get the ball to the byline. 4 or 5 in the middle. We've got men flying forward. But Jordan Gash, it's not the best finish in the world. It goes comfortably high and wide. Now Linfield get away with it as McKinney holds up for them. McPhee goes for the switch, but Elliott intercepts. It was a poor ball. Free making a run. Can he go alone? Beats 2. He's got 5 in the box again. It's a hallmark of our game how many players we get forward. And Elliott's nicked it off Kashif Beaton, who has had a bit of a horror show there. He scored or assisted in virtually every game against us this season. But this time he has been caught out. And it has led to Linfield conceding the first goal. Kashif Beaton doing us a favour as Bayavang flies down the right. Starting to strut his stuff now. Scored a couple of goals. Paul Elliott's on fire on the right as well. And there's the big man Missalidis at the back stick. Is my biggest advice for FM23 after this save is just get yourself a team of very, very tall players. And you will always do all right. As Missalidis, this time with a free kick, it's over the bar. An eventful half an hour. A pretty dominant one on our front. And I think you can see the Linfield problem, to be fair. The last 4 or 5 games at the end of the season, they've just dropped off a cliff. Whether it's the push after Europe last year and this season, I don't know. But since that title's been out of reach, they've been really poor. They've also gone a bit more defensive on the tactic. As here's Black in defence, wins it for Fry. The keeper clears long downfield. And they have had a couple of big injuries that have harmed them, in fairness. But this has been a no contest, really, which we've not had against Linfield for a while. Every game's been very close this season, and of course, they've won a couple of them. As Missalidis, great through ball to Scully, splits the defence, and Fry makes the save. Scully needs a hat-trick, because then he will overtake his teammate Jordan Howard for top scorer. Neil Daly has just scored the most important goal in the division today. He has given Coleraine the lead at Larne, and that will wrap them up 3rd place. Neil Daly is taking Coleraine to European group stage football. They've got a couple of very good strikers at the club. They've still got a couple of fullbacks as well. Coleraine could be the ones to watch. Could they come up and compete with a top 2? As Elliott gets in behind, goes from distance, it's over. Not the best shot, let's be honest. But a good start to the second half. And at the hour mark, we can look at resting people. We'll throw on the left for Linfield. Can they finally get back into this game? As Russell Denny, the sub. Rowley's up there as well. But Misselidis gets it away to Stout, and Jim Morrison out to Bird on a yellow, so we'll take him off soon as well. Bayavang again. I cannot work out why he struggles so much physically when he's got the best natural fitness in the squad. As it's out to Elliott on the right. 2 options in the middle. That will grow as he gets closer to the byline. 3 in there now. He cuts it back for Mark Scully. It's a good save from Fry, but we're playing some really good stuff today. If we play like this in the cup final, it should be a very comfortable win. Neil Daly, of course, will be cup tied for that game, as will Ethan James. So Coleraine maybe a little bit hamstrung there without 2 of their regular players. It's chipped forward towards Scully, who loses a header. Bayavang wins the second ball though. Dunn releases Scully. He's in. He's forced a little wide though. And he cuts it across to Misselidis. So unselfish when chasing the golden boot. Misselidis gets another. He's finished the season far better than he started it. And at least he's on the pitch now. Mark Scully with the assist. It is 3-0. We'll make the changes. We'll just see out the game. We'll bring on Kyle Carr at left back. Mackenzie at centre half. And then further forward, not going to worry about Tommy Murphy. Houston will come on for Jordan Gash. Jude will come on for Bayavang. And I'll replace Misselidis with Vladimir just to avoid any injuries. And we'll leave it at that for the rest of the game. As we're back with a quarter to go. Free kick on halfway for Luke Smith, who plays a 1-2 with Houston, the youngster. The substitute finds Jude, and it's chipped over the top to Scully. Beats his man. Is he onside? I think he is. It's his second of the day, and he is now level with Jordan Howard, who in fairness, I've not brought on the pitch, so it's going to be a little bit unfair on him if he loses out. But one more goal will do the trick. Coleraine still winning at Larne. And Linfield, this is the worst I've seen them look for a long time. What has happened since that title has been lost? As Holmes in behind. Oh, that's a great finish. He's one of those young players they've signed who's really improved over a couple of years. Featured in that Europa Conference final last year. Now is looking very strong, despite their poor finish to the year. And to be fair, Coleraine have gone 2-0 up with Kirk's goal as Scully heads wide. He still wants that golden boot badly. Coleraine are going to be third in the division as Johnny Burns has added a third goal for them. He is a regular in our Northern Ireland team. And we have won comfortably at Lisburn Distillery. Against Linfield, it has been a very easy day at the office. But the big story is Coleraine nicking third. Now we've got to play them a confident Coleraine in the cup final. Can we make sure that we don't slip up? Or is it going to be a difficult end? We can't ruin the clean sweep now, surely. Well, we're back. It is the chance to make history and complete the clean sweep domestically. However, you might see the new young right back because if we scroll back a couple of days, Gavin Reid is out injured and will miss this final. We go back to the fitness test. You see that Johnny Merivale Austin, 45 minutes max. Stephen Cowan not ready at all. And Collier, well, he's back after 3 months, but is not going to feature today. So this leaves us with a slightly weaker bench than we'd normally have. And probably a slightly more imbalanced squad. But the bigger worry with us for Coleraine at the minute, not that they've dropped Saykirk, the best striker, but more than McDonnell, who we've tried to sign before, Burns in number 10, Lindsay as well, all key players. Harley Jones is in their defence too. They're all going to be a threat. Tippin was the second top scorer in the Irish Premiership, so I'm hopeful that we'll be able to keep him quiet today. You can see it's a sellout at Windsor Park, a big attendance for the cup final. But let's go and make the changes we need to this team. Big decision at right back. I'll be back in a minute with it. Johnny Merivale Austin is back in the squad on the bench. We have decided today to go for him over Damien Jude, who will probably be off this summer now. He's going to be 30 later this year, and he's just not getting near after that injury. So it's probably the end of the road for him as a non-homegrown player. Looking into the team though, I have made the safe call at right back. We've gone for Tommy Murphy from the start, who's not fit because Freeman's obviously been playing in the other league games where Reid hasn't been involved. But we have got Freeman on the bench, so if we're winning comfortably, he can come on later in this final and have a fun day. For now though, this is the team we've gone for. It is very similar to the Linfield game with just Murphy in for Reid, which is enforced at right back. And on the bench, we've gone for Merivale Austin, who's back towards fitness, and for Matthew Freeman, the young superstar. Now let's go and get into it. The Irish Cup final and a chance to complete a clean sweep. I think I'm going to have to count it now. Will it be 6 or will it be 7 trophies? I think it will just be 6. Let me get the competitions up. League, League Cup, Shield, SPFL, All Ireland Cup, 6th trophy of the season. The maximum we've won is 5, which was last year. Now we've got to complete the lot. Coleraine will be a test, but let's hope we can do it. Well, here we go then. It is 5 changes for Coleraine, and a few of them are enforced. Harley Jones, our former player, is in, but that's because Ethan Jones on loan from us is ineligible, as is Neil Daly. They seem to have gone for a more defensive option, so they've taken out Kirk for an extra midfielder. Not sure that's the right decision. Brian Varma is a former player of ours on the bench if they want to go to Whitf later on. But for us, we are the better side. Oren Kearney's still in charge there. It's just about whether we get on top early, because Coleraine, they've generally given us good games this year. We've won the odd by 1. You see after the league split even, that they gave us the best game of the lot. The only team we didn't really thrash. So let's see how we get on tonight. I'm sure that those 2 players missing will be a big loss for them. And I'm hoping it'll be enough to get us the clean sweep, because there will be nerves about. I'm sure they'll be talking about it in the papers and online. Let's see if we can rise to the occasion. We haven't always in this save, as Hamilton on the left-hand side, being chased by Murphy, who again, probably his last game at the club, because Freeman's going to become backup next year. The Smith gets the ball in defence. Can we get him and Vladimir back another year? How important could they be? Will Morrison still be first choice, or do we go back in for Hassan? There's a lot of uncertainty as Elliott loses the ball. Murphy mops up well, and Morrison has it between the sticks. Bit of a weird highlight this. It's a long one that we're not really getting anything out of. I'm not sure how it's key, but here we come with Stow. Maybe it will lead to a magic moment here. Misselidis off the left, chips up the Scully, in behind Robinson with a dink finish. He might not have got clear of Howard in the league. They were joint top scorers in the end, but he is top overall with that goal and a fabulous finish in the cup final. 11 minutes gone, the lead we needed, and a perfect finish to do it. As we're 20 on the clock, it's a Coleraine goal kick with a big ball from Dylan Berry, who's still going strong in this save. Elliott gets it off the right and finds Jordan Gash, and it's back to Miles Stout on the left-hand side. Big ball forward to Misselidis, who's got himself in. Deflected shot is cleared away. Poor clearance to Elliott on the right side, and he's won a penalty. Scully, I think, is going to take it. He's still the best there, and he has scored already today, so maybe the confidence will be a bit higher than the disaster we saw last time. Or will it? Yes, if you've got a striker in scoring form, they just don't miss penalties. 2 for him. Lovely start to the game. And the clean sweep's complete. Excellent work. Now, will Coleraine improve in Europe next year? They're going to go big. We'll give them Neil Daly again if we can. But surely they've got to improve now. They're guaranteed European football. And we want them to get more competitive, so it's not just us and Linfield at the top. With 5 to the break, you have to say that this is probably game over. And maybe later on, we'll get the youth intake star on. It was not yet featured in an episode I've seen, as Byran gets the ball to Dunn. Out to Elliott on halfway. Through ball to Scully, who has skinned Jones for pace. Oh, it's a lovely dinked effort. Keeper was charging out to try and close the angle. And he just went for a delicate lob, which in the end landed on the roof of the net. But lovely work from Mark Scully and almost a goal. Although Bayavang's made a mistake and Smith's missed the header. Oh, we're very fortunate. And that is why I said Kirk should start, because he's the natural finisher in behind. My word, we've got out of jail there. That's a poor miss. We're delighted with a half, though. We're 2-0 up overall. And in an hour, if we can get another goal, we'll probably bring on the right back. But if not, we'll save him and bring him on last minute. An hour on the clock, we will think about changes, as Stow's got the ball at left back. Free kick for him, which is chipped into Bayavang. Another good game for him into Scully on his hat-trick. Brilliant finish. Mark Scully completes the set. And again, he's been the difference in this game. He's such a good footballer. He's physical. He's got quality in behind. He's good in the air. He's a striker who's got the lot, and he's a threat against anyone. 25 to go. Murphy will be replaced by Matthew Freeman, the young superstar. Here he comes for his first appearance on camera. We're also going to take off Scully after his hat-trick. Howard deserves a run-out after not getting one in the league. I'm going to rest Jordan Gash because he's had problems with injury, so he'll come off for Houston in the holding role. We're also going to bring Marival Austin on for Damien Dunn, who's not had his best game today. And Misselidis off for Vladimir again to avoid injuries. 25 to go, 3-0 up. The cup final should be done, but you're going to get your first glimpse of Matthew Freeman, unless we don't get a highlight. Well, here is one. Bird heads a free kick over. That's pretty comfortable, but we're not going to worry about misses like that for now. Let's just praise the lads, because it's been a really good display. I'd love to see Freeman get involved here. Astal gets the ball to Vladimir. Wouldn't be a bad time for his first goal for the club, would it? As McDonald gets it to McAlinden. Big clearance, which Smith gets to. Give it to the right back. We want to see him. There he is. Freeman's first touch on camera. Carries it over halfway. Don't give it away. Oh, he's going all the way. He finds Elliott. Gets to the byline. He's still going. Cuts it back. Freeman's there. Does he want to play short? No. He just loses the ball instead. Smith wins it back for Freeman though. Cuts in from the right. Has support. Switches it to Stout on the left, who's got down the line Vladimir. What a season he's had in the end. Tipping brings it away for Coleraine. He's carrying it forward with speed. Finds Robinson. Hamilton over the top again. Tipping has support. Kirk is on and he's got him behind. Why didn't they start him? He is such a good player, say Kirk. Look how good he is in behind. He's got the natural skills. I go back to my Ricky J. Jones comparison that I used last year. Not a brilliant footballer all round, but exceptional at the role. And I cannot understand why he doesn't start for that team. He's better than Tipping as a centre forward, and Tipping would be great in those number 10 positions. It just doesn't make sense. And with 4 minutes added on, Coleraine are just seeing it out now. They don't seem to have any intent to get a second goal. Oh, that big ball forward is cleared away by Houston. And they have gone very direct, haven't they? Kirk finds McDonnell. I tell you what, they've put Wallace in. It could be a grandstand finish. Tipped onto the bar by Morrison. It's a staggering save. And without it, we could have been having a very nail-biting stoppage time period. As Vladimir goes over the top, we're giving the ball away again. Maraval Austin clears. McElroy over the top. They've got one strategy, but it's working at the minute. Stow gets the ball away on the left, though. Tipping wins it back. Good challenge, though. Howard finds Vladimir. Back to Howard. Into Paul Elliott. And there you go. The brief nerves are gone. Elliott wraps the game up with a fourth. He'll be in Northern Ireland action during the summer. But will Matthew Freeman get his debut? There's my big question for next time. The Northern Irish Cup is won. It is 6 trophies out of 6 domestically. It is a massive season for Distillery, but it's also a massive season for Northern Ireland now, because 5 teams go into Europe for the first time, 3 virtually guaranteed group stage football, and we've got to do better than last year, because 2 teams in the groups wasn't good enough. We could do with 3 or 4 this time around. Coleraine have overtaken Larne, but they could not beat us in the Irish Cup final. It is a great end to a very good season. I've still got that little nagging doubt about what happened in Europe. We saw last summer how badly we were affected by players throwing their toys out the pram, those that wanted transfers causing unhappiness and unrest in the dressing room. It did cost us our Champions League group stage pace. And then we saw the knock-on effect that had on the schedule. Playing Thursday night, it just hampers everything in the Irish Prem. So we've got to try and avoid that next season, but let's get back to our inbox and just reflect on what has been a remarkable season. Another good bit of money into the club. The Irish Cup wins continuing to rack up now. It is a very good achievement. We're starting to build a dynasty. 3 in a row there for us. And we'd only won 1 before that, I think. Mark Scully, man of the match with a hat-trick. Superb effort from him. And a very good season for Lisburn Distillery. As you all know the drill by now, we will be back in a couple of days' time for our end of season review. We'll also have a look at coefficient watch with 5 teams heading into Europe next year and see where the individual clubs are who are making their first appearances. We have got ourselves through, as have the top 4, but we've now got 5th to 8th battling it out for the last spot. So anyone from Glentoran to Warren Point could be joining the 4 of us in their next season. If you did enjoy this one though, 6 trophies in the bag for the first ever time. Please do put a thumbs up on the video. Linfield pushed us close in the league, a lot closer than it looked in the end. Will they be able to do it again? Will they still improve? Or are we now going to head into a dominant patch? Hopefully plenty of sides will be able to improve in time for Europe. We'll certainly try our bit by loaning and transferring players out. If you're looking forward to seeing what happens and what players I'm looking at moving on this summer, then subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back in a couple of days' time for the season review before a big transfer special and another attempt at trying to make the Champions League group stages. Hopefully you're looking forward to that, but in the meantime, we had a brand new series yesterday. If you haven't seen it already, it is up in the eye above with the Twitch channel for more F1 Manager and so much more. Anything you can't find up there will be in the description below. But for now, it's another successful season with Distillery. We have got to push on in Europe. My job is to go away and make a plan of that now, and we'll be back in a couple of days to unveil our great strategy.